of course, we've had some very, very heated interchanges about Donald Trump on Facebook, and
We
they've
have.
been very enjoyable and, very interesting. And I have always respected your viewpoint, and I always respect people who disagree with my viewpoint because, freedom of speech, freedom does not include you're only free if you agree with me.
Right,
That's
right.
not freedom. Freedom includes the freedom to disagree. If I like something, you're allowed to hate it. That's freedom,
Right.
right?
So we did, John. We did have a lot of heated
We did,
discussions,
we
didn't we?
did, we did, we did.
And then, like I already said, it's okay to change your mind,
It's
and
totally okay.
it's totally okay. And what I'm seeing in America, and I talk about America because I've been following it a lot because obviously Billy still has property over there. So I'm not going to go to America for a while because of the governors, not because of Trump. And as in, it's not because of Trump I'm not going, it's because of the California government. But it's become so political. This is a disease, a virus, and it has become so political. It's insane. And Donald Trump has actually said a few good things. The cure can't be worse than the disease. I agree with that. He wanted to open up. I agree with that. And I've had a chance to see the way the media treats him and turns what he says around. Now, I think the turning point for me to start asking questions and opening my mind was when he said that about the cure.
Yeah, that's
not
right. Because I remember, and I was reading Facebook. I thought, hang on a second, is that must be a fake account? And
you probably fell off your seat.
I nearly fell off my perch. I mean, I saw that. So basically,
now I will say that I'm very afraid to tell that I have changed my mind to a lot of my American friends because
trust me, this
they are
go
just
viral across
following
America.
party lines like crazy. It's insane to me. They're not using common sense.
No.
They're saying, right, we're a Democrat, so we think this, and there can't be any truth at all in what Trump says, and hydroxychloroquine must be the worst thing on the planet. And Donald Trump saying he should inject bleach in your arm. Never said anything of the sort. And I've had time to watch his full interviews, which I've never actually watched one of his interviews because I've usually just read an interpretation on Facebook or what the mainstream media says, and I've realized how fake some things can be. So, for example, he said, I did watch the interview, and he said, well, light UV kills the virus. So why can't we put a light source inside a body? And I thought, oh my goodness, what's he talking about? How do you put a light source in a body? Like, that's insane. That's like another crazy thing he said. But when I did my research, hold on, I've got to find some names here. When I did my research, Cedar Sinai had actually teamed up with a company called Aytu, AYTU, and they had a light rod that you actually put inside the tubes of the ventilation machine, the intubator machine, that then puts the light around the lungs. So I don't know if someone had told him about it or it was something up for discussion, but that was a legitimate medical device that's been in development. Now, there was a New York Times journalist called Davey Alba, and he proudly tweeted how he got the promotional video for this medical device taken down from YouTube. But this is a legit medical device with a company that is floated on the stock exchange. And instead of doesn't a journalist, isn't it their job to find out things? So he should have called up and he should have, can you tell us about your device? How does it work? When do you plan to launch it? Have you trialed it? He didn't do that. He went straight to YouTube, got the video taken down. And, it's that kind of thing. And I'm like, this is insane. Maybe, and then people were literally thinking that disinfectant is injecting Lysol and bleach. Well, it's not. There's ozone therapy. That ozone is a medical disinfectant. You can have there's ozone therapy that's known. They've used that early on with the treatment of HIV. and other viruses. So there's all these different alternative treatments
You're absolutely
that
right.
you could look into. And like, I think,
There's a Swiss
and
treatment.
again,
There's
the
a
thing
Swiss
with
treatment.
alternative treatments like that ozone therapy, chelation therapy, removing heavy metals out the blood and everything else, sometimes doctors that talk about that then get discredited. So, you know, it's not just him, it's even doctors that are getting discredited for these alternative, um, you know, um, procedures.
That's right.
Well,
There's also hydrogen peroxide therapy, which is a
Yeah.
disinfectant and it's a legitimate therapy. And there is intravenous light therapy as well. It's very
Yeah.
effective. Absolutely right.
so this is why it's the responsibility. You see, I think one of the things that we do is as soon as we say the word, we hear the word doctor or expert or something, that then allows us to rescind our own responsibility. You
Right.
know, and at that point we stop looking. And at that point, actually, what I say is my definition of brainwashing is the minute you accept data from other people without personally inspecting it for yourself, at that point you're either on the way to becoming brainwashed or you have been brainwashed.
I quite
Right.
like
So,
that comment. You have to read that to Leilani because she can't see it.
okay, I'm going to read this to you. This lady is what we need in Parliament. Balanced, researched, intelligent, lives in the real world, and much, much more.
I
So there you
agree.
go, Leilani.
Wow, thank you.
You better run for
That
Bournemouth
is a
or
very
wherever.
nice compliment.
No, not
Thank you.
Bournemouth.
Staffordshire.
Staffordshire. Why not? You know what? Why the hell not? Why the hell not? You'd be a bloody breath of fresh air in that
I'd be
Parliament.
so. I think it would just stress me out no end. It would.
No, I don't
It
think
would.
so. I think you'd have whipped in before. I
But
think
I,
you'd have
you
more
know, and
whipped in.
I just think, you know, you can always change your mind if you, even if you were the most, um, you know, even if you were the person most for lockdown, even if you were like totally against Donald Trump, even you know, you can always, you shouldn't always just stick to certain lines. You should always open your mind and see if there's a common sense line in the middle somewhere, or if someone's
So
got
you,
common sense.
as I recall, you lived in LA for a long time, but you don't have citizenship, do you, of America?
No, I do. I do have citizenship.
You
Yeah,
do
I've
have
lived
citizenship.
there 17 years, and I'm a
So you
dual
are a
citizen.
citizen.
So
That's right.
I am a
You did get
citizen of
citizenship.
America.
So I think I'm correct in saying that before the COVID crisis, you would not have been a Trump voter.
No, I didn't actually vote last year because I also didn't like Hillary.
Right.
Um,
No, I know
I
you
was
didn't like
very,
Hillary.
yeah, I was very stuck. You know, I'd researched Pizzagate. That was big at the time, Pizzagate, and now they're talking about Frazzlegate and Adendochrome and all of that. So so I wasn't a Hillary supporter, but I also didn't want to vote for Trump at the same time.
No.
And you know, sometimes sometimes Trump does things against like my animal activism or whatever, or environmental, but it doesn't mean you can't agree with some of the things. And I think that is, you know, I think that is a problem. People really, truly in America sometimes think, right, I'm a Democrat, I must stay as a Democrat, I must not sway from that. And it's really sad, you know, what you see in California right now, like they're forced to wear masks if they're outside their house.
They're being fined.
You know, they're keeping people locked down, and it's only like, you know, then you'll hear good, nice police sheriff saying like, you know, it's unconstitutional. We're not going to do that. We're not going to police this. We're not going to make criminals out of somebody sitting on a beach when we have been forced by the governor or whoever forced them to release sex offenders and murderers, you know. So what, you're going to release people out of jail to put some good people back in there?
Well, you're absolutely right. So isn't that interesting how your position and because for those of you that are watching, I mean, Leilani was a hardcore anti-Trump. You were hardcore anti-Trump, I would say, and for sure. And what this crisis has done is I'm not saying you would vote for Trump. You're going to have to wait and see closer to the time. But the fact of the matter is, you've definitely had a shift in your perspective.
Yeah.
And you can definitely see that some of the things that he's been saying, because you have looked for yourself, because you have been thinking for yourself. And I wonder how many other people there are out there. Perhaps they don't have the courage to be as outspoken as you're being at the moment. But I wonder how many other people there are that have really now seen through the veil.